First of all, you don't know me.
We're all about that high school drama girl, all about them high school queens. We'll take you for a ride in our comic girl, cheering for the right team. Drama queens, smart girl, rough girl, fashion but you're tough girl. You could sit with us, girl. Drama queens, drama queens, drama queens, drama queens, drama queens.
You guys, we have one of our favorite people with us. What a scamp, this one. Tell them what we got, Joy.
We got not one in a million, one in a billion. I mean, Tyler Hilton, ladies and gentlemen, Chris Keller himself, a dear friend of all of ours. Oh, Tyler, there you are.
Ooh, with the tight, fresh haircut. Hi.
Yes.
Ooh.
And drones for the Navy now. No.
I love it. Tyler, we miss you. We're excited to play 23 questions with you.
I know. I'm so stoked too.
Thanks for jumping in, man. What you been doing? What's going on? What's happening in your life, dude?
Hanging. I just finished the score for a Megan's movie, so that was cool.
Yes.
We could wrap that in the last few weeks. And
congrats.
The little town she filmed it in, they have a local paper, and they were like, "Well, the economy's booming because all this film production moved in for a movie called My Old Ass." And they said the whole thing in the newspaper. And I was like, oh, okay. They're like, and it's not about a donkey, apparently, according to sources. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. When she told us the name of that, I was like, of course. Of course that's what
I know. Can I tell you guys a story really quick?
Yes, we're on.
Oh my God. So I just went outside before this. I heard all this commotion, all these ducks in the yard flew away really quick. And usually that means a predator is in the area. And a hawk had swooped down on a duck that was just chilling there and got him right there in front of me. It was the weirdest thing. And it's like,
watched it happen.
Sad and happy at the same time, but just so dramatic to watch go down.
Also, birds attacking birds. I didn't know that was a thing, that a hawk would attack a duck.
Oh,
I know they go after mice and stuff, but.
No, they just there's one that just hangs out in the area and he just, name him? Get away in time and everything. And you're like, oh, the hawk must be this time. No.
Wait till your daughter starts going outside, talking to it. Just come hither, hawk.
Oh, she talks to the animals all the time. That's her thing. We feed the birds in the morning and the raccoons in the evening. All our
Those trash pandas.
They all, dumpster pandas, no thanks. Did you name your hawk or any of your other vermin?
No, we haven't named the hawk, but the other ones have names. So we live now in the house that Megan grew up in and her mom grew up in. So it's there's been these animals are oh, that duck right there is the kid of Spacey and, Starlight or whatever. And just generations have just been chilling here. It's funny.
It's so old timey. I love it.
So
all right. Well, that leads us to our first question, friend. Ooh. First question for you is, what is your idea of perfect happiness? Is it feeding raccoons?
Whoa. No, that's such a cool question. I feel like being unencumbered to do whatever hobby, chase whatever hobby or interest or thing that makes you curious. I think that's about as close to happiness as you can get. And I feel like as I get older, that's what I'm solving for more and more. Freedom of choice to do things that you want. That seems like happiness to me. And that's how I'm raising Winnie. That's what I want for my family. That kind of thing where you can create safe sandboxes to kind of be free in. That's happiness, I think.
I was just talking about that earlier today. It was being in my 40s, finally realizing that I don't necessarily like the things that I was told I liked as a kid.
Yeah.
And just the freedom to be I don't like that. I'm not into it. I did it because I made other
freedom.
people happy.
I know that is to break away from the pact on something that you don't agree with them on. That's true freedom. Whether it's
yeah, dude,
whatever, that's a vibe.
Yeah.
Because we all have that. I'm sure I wonder what the percentage is, but I'm sure at least a third of our preferences, if we truly get down in there, don't line up with the rest of society. And what do you do with those? What are you going to do with those? I guess always that's the maybe thing of life is always be fighting in whatever way you can and small, always just taking the road that kind of leaves you closer to more of those or something,
You're profound, darling.
I miss conversations like this with you, Tyler.
What's the craziest thing a fan ever gave you? And
Yeah. What's your favorite color?
Yeah, I was like,
oh no, these are hard. These are grad school questions.
oh, these are my favorite.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, okay, listen, here's the next one. What's your greatest fear?
oh man. Well, the surface level answer would be like heights. Like I've always like, I can't do heights. Like physically,
Yeah.
oh my gosh. In fact, Hilarie, you're a part of this story that actually is so funny of me and heights. Like I've always had such a thing with heights. I can't.
Ladder?
Yes. I can't even, it's not even like a choice. I physically can't go higher. Like my legs will freeze and stuff. So we're doing Christmas on the Bayou.
What?
They don't tell me this. And we get to set and they're like, okay, so for this scene, you're going to be fixing that street light up there, street light. And we have this ladder going up to it and you're kind of putting Christmas lights. And I was like, on the street light way up there. And I was like, am I on a harness? They're like, no, we'll get you up there. And I was like, it was the only time I've ever been filming that I said, I can't do that. Like, I mean, I can't, I won't make it up there or whatever. It's so funny. That was a movie with you or whatever. So they had me hang some lights on a tree or something.
Dude, they used the child actor's dad as a body double for you, but you were a good 1.5 feet taller than that dude.
Oh, no.
And so it did not match. It was not a match.
I won't make it up there, he says.
Yeah.
Dad, thank God. Yeah. So that's my biggest fear. Yeah.
Yeah, that was scary. Okay. If you could be the best in the world at something, anything, what would it be?
Whoa.
Like the best in the world.
At anything.
Whoa. Gosh, I mean, I'm sure there's like the responsible thing would be like, what does the world need? And then like try to be the best at that for them.
Reverse engineer it.
Like the selfish answer is like, so I actually like played my friend's wedding. I played Eli and Marissa's wedding this weekend from the One Tree Hill conventions. I don't know if you're that like they're like
so
the
great.
people that
That's
met
so
there
sweet.
and they're part of like the staff or what. Literally
Yeah.
the sweetest, biggest, hardest people ever. And so shout out to them. But as I was playing it, I haven't been playing a lot of shows. I realized how much I love singing for people. It's like the craziest thing. Touring is hard and sucks. And so I'm always trying to get out of touring, but then I forget how much I love singing for people. And honestly, I'm not
You're
being
so
whatever.
magical on stage.
Oh yeah, no, it
is, but you are also. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Thank you. But like, it's truly like a spiritual vibe,
Yeah.
And I think like, if there's some way I could harness that into like whatever being the best in the world is at that is, if my guitar and my voice could be like my superpower and I could go everywhere with that, I would, like I love it.
That is so funny that you pick something that it already is your superpower. Like you're already so good at it and so magical.
But I always want to be better. And it's one of those things too, or with like a lot of things, you can only be so good at guitar and voice, whatever. But then after that, getting better is like a spiritual thing and a personal thing. And it's like, it's not nonfiction stuff. It's like fiction stuff, it's like deep in that part of you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you remember that band, the Dresden Dolls?
Yeah. Why?
Because the lead singer didn't want to tour anymore either. Like she's a parent and she just got a place here in the Hudson Valley that it's like a shop, but also a house. And it's basically just a living room she set up where she performs every single weekend.
Wow.
And she
what a
invites
great
all
idea.
of her other super famous musician friends to just come play in this living room. And it's just all like chairs from thrift stores. And it is the coolest thing for artists to just be able to sing and play, but not tour.
Yeah. You know what's cool about that too? Is I love the coffee house vibe. I've been really missing that. It's kind of used as like a beginner's launching pad. But then when you get beyond it, you miss it. Like there's some things that don't translate to like loud bars with clinking glasses and drinking. And there's other things that like, you know a singer named Kathleen Edwards? Joy, did you ever?
No, I don't know who this is.
She's like an Americana folky kind of thing.
No.
Vibes. I think ended up dating and working with Bon Iver, and then they won a Grammy at some point. Anyway, she quit, moved back home to a small town in Canada and opened up a coffee house called Quitters. And that's just where she works now. And
Yes.
I was like, I always thought that'd be such a good job. Like she should make it a show or or I just feel like that's such a beautiful concept that she moved back there and just plays there, owns it. Quitters Coffee. So cool.
You're going to open up Ducks and Raccoons.
Oh my God. Can you
It's
imagine?
gonna be such a hit.
When I first moved here, I was like, okay, I'm going to open up a coffee house here. And I actually Googled how many cups of coffee do you have to sell on average to make a coffee house work? And it was something like ridiculous. And I was like, oh, I'll never be able to make that work.
I do love that. I think especially in a day and age where it's like the concert experience is becoming so much more about big giant concerts. You know, it's great to see Beyonce and Taylor Swift. That's fun, but there is so much that you can get out of just going to see an independent artist or somebody who's not as famous as Taylor Swift, which, you know, who is, and just sitting there and experiencing that. I feel like it's harder to get people out of their houses to go do that. But if it were more of an intimate thing, like what you're talking about, where you know you're going to have that interaction much more up close, I feel like that's a super sellable experience.
Maybe what the vibe is, and I should look into this, is doing some kind of regular performance either here or in Toronto, like a residency kind of vibe in a smaller, more accessible place, but then filming it and streaming it on like a TikTok or Instagram, you know, so people can still, you know, experience it if they want, but
that's fun.
You know, it's in that small, intimate thing that you could also show up in. Anyway.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Here's our next question. What's the weirdest thing you keep next to your bed?
Oh, that's such a good, God, these are good. That is so, okay, I'll tell you. Oh my God.
Cold hard cash.
Cash and a gun. Remember when Elon Musk's bedside table picture came out? It was like a Diet Coke, a gun, and something else. I was like,
whose was this?
Elon Musk. It was like a picture of his.
Oh my God, yes. Oh, boo hiss.
Okay, so this is weird, but I sleep almost every night with an AirPod in my ear, listening to like news.
You don't lose it?
Ooh.
I lose it in the middle of the night, and then I always, oh my God, I can't believe I'm saying this out loud. This is like, yeah, and then I find it every night, like under me, and then I switch it to the other one that hasn't run out of batteries, and I start it again. And that's how yeah.
To the news?
Yeah, it's just like, and it's best if it's like BBC or something like, today in Yugoslavia, it was
No, Tyler.
all night. And then if I wake up to pee or something, I get back up, I'm back to sleep. Yeah, and so the AirPods sit right there.
This is why you're so you can comment on anything. I feel like just throw you into any scenario. Even if,
I actually know everything. I don't know I know it.
Even though you're like, I don't know how educated I am on it, but I definitely know about it, and I can have a conversation with you about it.
But I just want to know what the catalyst for it was. Like, what was the first day that Tyler Hilton was like, I'm going to listen to the news tonight? Like, as a child, did you listen to NPR with your parents or something?
No, but I think like my grandma, who I'm like really similar to, she kept the TV on all night. It was like she didn't watch it that much during the day, but had to have it on all night. There's something about that like makes me go to sleep. I hope they don't find that those AirPods give you brain cancer because I'm in trouble.
Oh,
can you imagine? But they say.
Yeah, but you'll know an awful lot. So.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay. Which living person do you admire most?
Oh, okay. God, there's so many people to like go with. You know, I don't mean to be lame, but I'm going to go with like an entertainer because I do feel like we're in such a niche. And for me, it's so hard to find idols in my exact niche, you know? So although I've like a lot of great family members and stuff, I've always thought that like, I mean, actually, well, I was going to say Hugh Jackman, but then it's a downer because I hear he's like divorcing from his wife, but I've always thought,
honey, you can still be a good person and get divorced.
But I mean, I don't know, you know, but I mean, he is, you know, but like, I think like his interviews, his relationships, his talent, his like career trajectory, his like work ethic, his like morality, there's something about him that I think is like truly like, without realizing it, I'm really inspired by him, you know? So,
yeah. Did you see him in The Music Man while he was doing The Music Man?
No, I didn't. I didn't. I should have.
He made every single person there feel like they were catching the show where he got a little spicy because we thought it was like Gus and I, the whole family went to see it for Easter. And we thought for sure like, oh, they're improvising. They're doing something like clever. He and Sutton Foster. And then we went online and realized that they do it every show. He's just so good.
Oh my
that you
gosh.
would never in a million years think it was scripted, because he's personable in a way that movie stars were. And we don't necessarily have a lot of that.
He seems really
today.
open, or whatever. Like
Yeah.
he's willing to give, and to be honest, I kind of get shy and introverted in some regards with like my art and things and, self-conscious. And he seems so like everyone that I've heard that has seen him live at his like Hollywood Bowl stuff or whatever, walked away with this feeling that you want to give. I feel like if you're like an entertainer where they're just so like, oh, wow,
Yeah.
That's a good one.
I've heard that about him too.
I don't know these things about myself till you're asking them. That's the crazy thing is you're like forcing me to like,
Yeah.
Get to know yourself better.
It's free therapy today, Tyler.
It is.
We're providing a service.
All right, well, it's time to get real about what you spend the most on. What is your greatest extravagance?
Oh, definitely like music stuff, album stuff. I spend so much dough on anything that like, if my music career was like a child, it'd be the most spoiled child. I give it everything. Like if I need to like last minute be in LA to do a record, I'll go. If we need like twice as many string players, but there isn't a budget for it, we'll buy it. Like that's like my favorite thing to spend money on. Like we were just on vacation in this cottage and I found out there was a music store like an hour and a half away and they had this mic that I wanted. And I spent like the day like driving there to buy it. Like, cause they had this old pump organ in this cottage. And I was like, I want to record this pump organ. And so like those kind of things I'll just spend on,
What's the craziest musical thing that you spent your money on that you had to have? I like that he's a little bit impulsive.
I have to have one of these guys. Okay. So this is called a baritone guitar and it's like longer. And
I was going to
huge.
say, it's really long.
And so what it is you get rid of the high string on a guitar and you add an extra low string below the E.
Oh.
So now the whole thing is just one string lower. And it just sounds kind of, this is electric, but it just sounds kind of like,
Ooh.
you know what I mean?
So
Just like
moody.
Yeah.
and then they use it a lot, not for chords and stuff, but like on, like those kind of.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
You need a pickup truck, a lift kit.
Oh, yeah. It's so outlaw country.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, that's a fun toy, Ty.
Now they make baritone acoustics and now I really want to get one.
I gotta have it. All right, question number 7 is, what is your current state of mind?
You guys, these are such good questions.
Yeah, what'd you wake up today feeling,
Like
baby?
when the show ends and you guys have watched every episode, you literally should just keep this stuff going. Like you're asking, you're asking the stuff that we wish journalists or whatever, like getting in there.
Yeah.
We're basically just farming for all your internet passwords. We're like, what was the name of your first pet and your favorite teacher?
Okay, like what was it? My current state of mind?
Yeah. When you woke up this morning, you were like, this is how I feel.
This is like a really good question. Okay, so here's where I'm at generally, like in my head is I'm in this like weird transition where after my last record came out in 2019 or whatever, I was going to take a couple years off and just do the dad thing. And the pandemic hit, whatever. So that extended my little break. I was going to take a little longer. But now I'm like in this phase where I'm like coming out of this like 2 or 3 years and being like this feeling of like, I want to do something, like, but what do I do? Who am I now? Everything's different. Like before I had a 0-year-old, I had nobody. Now I have a like almost 4-year-old. Like I live in Canada, like and I'm surprised by how many songs and stuff keep like bubbling up in me. So the good thing is Megan asked me to do the score for the movie. This is all leading up to where I'm at now. And then it really broke me out of like just being in dad mode, and I had to go hard into the studio. Once I did that, and it was like the hardest thing I've ever done, just like writing music to a movie for strings. And it was like, so great. By the end of that, I was like, all I want to do is make another album. So I went right into the studio, made like a whole nother album. And now I'm like, it's done. The first song like just came out or whatever. And I'm like,
or whatever. It
I'm
just
like,
came
but I'm
out
like,
or whatever.
but I'm like, now what? And I'm in this like phase where I realize like, oh, like where does music, where does me as a musician fit into my life now? And I like really realized that like, no matter what, if I retired, if whatever, I would still put out a record all the time. I love putting out music all the time, nonstop. And I feel like I'm in this stage right now where this feels like one of the first records that I'm putting out that will be one of like, hopefully one every year for the rest of my life. You know,
Yes.
this is just what I'm like doing now. It's like my practice. Whereas before I was like a road guy. I don't want to do that. If I'm really like I don't want to be road guy for like another 20 years if I can help it. Old man road guy is sick. I want to be that guy.
Yes.
But like for the next while, like, and so it's just like really wild because I'm in this stage now where like the first song just came out, another song's coming out, and it's like not any kind of like, oh, anticipation. What's going to happen? Things will adjust if it does well or not. No, it's like, this is my new infinite game, you know? And in itself, it's like, I wake up every day kind of feeling like a new person. I'm like, who am I? I have to like rebuild my identity because I'm not there with like the fans, the hotel rooms, like so many years on the road, you know, it's like, it's been, and I've kind of thought these last couple of years were going to be just a break. And then I go back to it and I realize like, no, I don't want to go back to that. So what am I now? What do I do now? So it's just, I'm like definitely like working that out. And it's like, it's cool.
So changing your state of mind in that way certainly affects your relationships. And now that you're older in life and you have this retrospective perspective, what do you value the most in your friends? I guess it's a quality. Like what quality do you value most?
Okay. So the quality I value most is like, I love ideas and I love like talking a lot or whatever. And so I feel like my closest friends, I have this one guy who I've been like best friends with since we were like 15 in high school. And we still talk like every couple of weeks or whatever. And I love being able to just like talk about with like someone that I could just like have conversations with and that isn't stuck in their thinking, that I could be like, wait, is blah, 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 blah. Or maybe anything that starts with wait or maybe, or those kind of conversations I love. Like I could go off on that if we're in that kind of mindset of like, I wonder if just those kind of things, I love to like just talk out.
So curiosity
and safety, you know? And this is like another thing that's like really important to me is non-selfish love. Like, especially as an entertainer, you know, there's a lot of people that like you, but they, you know, and you're giving that to them and they want that, you know, but to have somebody like dig things about you that they're not getting anything out of, that's really cool, you know?
Yeah.
And rare.
Yeah.
You guys are like that. I really feel like that. And we've all, you know, we've, I think because we met so young and we've been through so many things together, but there's that vibe, you know, but.
Well, there's no angle.
Yeah.
And I feel like I lucked out in that I'm still friends with all my childhood friends, but Jeffrey has certainly struggled with that. I've seen my husband like just get worked by some people. And so when he meets people, like he loves you so much. When we were on tour, you two hugging backstage was
oh my God. I just got chills.
So heartwarming.
You two just love each other. Yeah, it's nice, especially for men who are not necessarily encouraged to dig deep into those feelings, to find people who they can be gentle with and like that don't want anything from them.
Yeah, and vent to the guy. Vent. The hard thing is setting aside time because it doesn't seem like worth it. You know, I think like as a guy, you think there's things you got to get done in a day, and talking to your guy friend is not one of them. You know, it just seems like a total waste of time.
Oh, no, women prioritize that shit, Tyler.
You're right.
We cut out a whole hour of the day like, well, this is my shit talk hour. Gonna fix it.
You literally started a podcast so you guys could do it. So maybe that's what I need to do is just start a podcast with my guy friends just to be like, check in. How's everyone?
That's it. The check-in.
Okay, baby. On what occasion do you lie?
Oh, dang.
Tell me.
Oh man. I try to like, not to be like lame, but I like really try not to lie only because I feel like as like a practice of like, owning something honestly, you know what I mean? But that being said, you know, I'm sure I like lie all the time kind of vibe, but I do try to go towards like truthfulness, you know?
But when would it be? When are you gonna? What do you like? You're at the. In what kind of? Is it like a simple social circumstance, or like sorry I can't make it. The baby's not feeling well. Oh no!
Like listening to this podcast, I think like you know what I mean? Like I think lying.
What's the audience?
Yeah,
What's gonna tell on you here?
God dang, this is a toughie, huh? I got to get right in there.
We'll know if you're lying.
Yeah, I think there's been a couple times where my mother-in-law has come over and asked if a skunk had just been through the yard. And I said, yeah, I think I did see a skunk go through the yard. And I think that's what that smell is. I think that's probably
a liar.
a time or two that I've lied about that. But do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sure.
Something smells kind of, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that
was
is.
a skunk, actually. I think that's something I, try to.
She doesn't need to know.
Try to be pro about. I don't know.
Yeah, parenting's hard.
Yeah.
Baby, I get it.
Tyler, what is something you would never do again?
I'll probably never run a marathon again.
You ran a marathon?
I did 2 marathons right around, like you guys were kind of around for that. I was training for one with you guys that's why you shaved my head into a mohawk, because of my first marathon. I just realized. Do you remember you and Sophia did that at a mall in like
dude?
You don't remember?
Yeah, like the mall hangs were always kind of sus. We didn't make great decisions.
Oh, no. I think about all the time. Thank God.
No iPhones.
No iPhones. I mean, I just like, we just slipped right through there, and it was just like, wow.
The last generation.
That's a toughie. What was the question? What am I talking about?
You're talking about something you'll never do again.
Oh, I'll never do again. Oh,
You've already blocked it from your memory. That's how traumatic it was.
Oh yeah, do the marathon. I'll never do that again. That's right. I did like 2 when I was younger, just as like, I get like extreme about stuff, and I was like, oh, I'm going to do it. And then at the end of each marathon, I had like a beer and a cigarette waiting for me. And I was like a total just young asshole about it, like no care. And then I did that for the second marathon too. I barely trained. I was just all cocky. And I started getting like pains in my knees and stuff. And I thought to myself, like, I'd also like played football in high school or whatever. And I was like, I will never like run a marathon or do any kind of extreme sports again. My new vibe is like longevity. Oh my God. All these answers are so old sounding, but you know what I mean? Where I'm like, I just won't,
I get it.
If it's a walk run, I'll do a little walking. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. What's that little Prancer size?
Oh yeah.
That you can do where it's just a little dance move while you get down.
Fancy walk.
Like a Florida retiree walk kind of vibe.
Yeah, I would Prancercise with you, but I don't run for anything. I completely back this decision. No.
What's your like workout vibe? Like, do you do workout? Do you do Pilates or something? Or
no, I do chores. I vacuum. I can clean my own house.
Farm chores.
Yeah. All the stuff that we pay other people to do, I just do, and I'm so exhausted by the end of the day.
Right.
Running is so unnatural.
It is.
What? That's like caveman stuff. You run because you're hunting something, or something is chasing you.
Something's chasing you.
I know. Is there nothing more privileged than jogging slowly? With like just like an easy,
No.
I don't know.
It's so unnatural.
I don't like the competition around it. Right? It's like, I'm going to run faster than you. It just feels like, well, then why don't you just run next to me? Like, we can do this together.
Why don't we just be friends?
I would rather other people win just to take the pressure off, because I don't want to feel guilty. Like, please, just.
Every part of it freaks me out. I understand. All right. You've already told us what you spend the most money on, but this is a little bit different. This is, what is the strangest purchase you have made, or like almost made? We'll let you fit it in almost if you need to.
I guess the strangest thing would be, and like some people are like not into this, but like I got like real into like reading all the books about Bitcoin and bought some Bitcoin, and I like to and it's like and it's like comes with like, it's literally my dirty secret, because like it's so, everyone like hates it and it's so dirty, but it's like weird, but I am so interested in it. I got like a second computer that I loaded like Linux on, and I like was learning it from the code base. Like I just like, I loved it.
You know why you loved it? is the same reason boys like Pokemon cards.
And Rome, you know, everyone says like the Roman Empire, men are all into it. When they said that, I was like, I think about the Roman Empire almost every day. Like I was like, I was like, why do I think about the Roman Empire so much? But I do.
Why? Yeah. Why do you though?
There's so many things that tie back to the Roman Empire that in a given day or week that you're just like the Romans. I don't know why. I didn't even know I thought that.
Bitcoin was the downfall of the Roman Empire.
The Roman Empire.
I wonder. No, I mean, just more as like a like as a tech and something that happened, you know, I don't know, politically, whatever, but it was like, that's like a strange thing I bought. Cause I remember even when I bought like $20 of it after I felt like I was like, this feels so weird. Like I just couldn't stop thinking. It started because these like NFT companies were coming to me in 21 about doing some stuff.
That was so weird. Yeah.
And I didn't really get into NFTs and I thought like, this is like dumb. You know, and then the more I looked into it, I was like, oh, this is cool. And then it just kept coming back to Bitcoin. And I was like, this is so interesting. It's like fascinating. They have like a whole course on it that Harvard did. You can watch on YouTube. I like watching the whole thing. Yeah. It's like so fascinating. Just the technology that was invented to make it possible, whether it should be legal or not. I don't know.
Is that also something you'd never do again?
What?
Bitcoin?
No, I would for sure. I like love it.
You do. You're still totally like, you're in it.
I never sold, like I have it and I like follow it like so much. Like I just like, I'm fascinated by it. It's like so interesting.
I love the difference between men and women because I have a lot of like female friends that, you know, there's like classes in Ireland and Scotland about fairies, right? And they're like, fairies are real. Fairies are real because I've made up my mind they're real. And Bitcoin is that for boys. They're like, no, it's real. This money's real. You can't see it. You can't touch it.
It's like
but
Pokemon.
It's real.
Well, that's the nerd trap of it. Is it's so obviously, it comes across so obviously as like a scam that you're like, oh, like everyone's like learning about it always starts in like, I can't believe we're talking about this, but like, oh, that's obviously a scam. And everyone that gets into it goes for years, like feeling bad for the friend that got them into it. Like this guy who I really respect was telling me about whatever Bitcoin for like 2 years. And I felt bad for him. I was like, this guy's lost his mind. And it's like really a smart guy. And I feel like the pandemic must have like sent him down a rabbit hole. And now we've like lost him to the world. And then a couple of my friends kept like telling me about it. And I was like, everyone's going crazy. And it's like so sad. The world's like, you know, going to hell. And then all of a sudden there's this like whoosh moment and you're like, oh my God. But anyway, it's just a hobby. It's like
it's a hobby. It's Pokemon for grownups. I love it.
The curiosity in you, Tyler. I love that.
Exactly.
You're like, no, this is so sad. No way. Oh, wait a second.
Yeah, I know. Same thing with the marathon. I was like, I'll start jogging and see what happens. And I'm like running a marathon a year later.
This is so true about you though, Tyler. Mm-hmm. You are one of those people that like, you commit to what you're into, what you think, your perspective, your belief, but you are so open-handed with it. You're so open to like, hey, change my mind. Like if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But like you don't wander around kind of wishy-washy about anything. But the second that you realize there's a different way of looking at something, you're like, yes. All right, great. I love that about you.
No, I'm like wanting to be wrong. I want to be wrong because I don't ever want to be wasting time in a thought that's not, I don't know, like
yes,
can go on forever. Like if a thought or a practice or something isn't something that can like continue to make me happy or is actually, you know, good for the world or whatever, it's like I want out of it, you know.
Yeah.
This is the most revealing interview I swear to God I've ever done in my life. Like this is so
the Proust
crazy. Questionnaire. Because they're so like they're such embarrassing answers. I'm being like so open, and they're things that I would never share with like friends or people normally. I can't believe it. Just really kudos to you guys for these. Like this is good.
Digging in.
Okay, who are your favorite writers?
Like book writers?
Any kind of writers, songwriters, poetry. I don't know, stories.
The books. Best book right now. Oh my God, I'm obsessed with the guy who wrote it. Okay. The book won a Pulitzer. It's called Trust. And it's written by this guy named Hernan Diaz. And I'm like, I'm so obsessed with it. And now I'm going to start. I just finished it. I'm almost done with it last night. I'm going to start it again and buy like everything he's done. And it's fiction, but it's just the way he's written it is so beautiful. Trust by Hernan
typing
Diaz.
It in.
It's cool because, well, I mean, it actually sounds kind of boring, but it's beautiful. And I don't even mind as much what a story is about, but how it's told, you know, I don't care. Like I'll know in the first paragraph, same with the movie. I don't care what the movie's about, but when I'm starting movies on planes, I just watch the first 5 minutes. Because if I'm not into it in the first minute, I know what this vibe is. I don't want to do this, you know?
Yeah.
If it's weird casting or people are trying too hard, I'm out. I don't want to do this, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing with books.
Not a time waster.
What is this like basic broad strokes story of trust for the person out there that's like, do I get this?
It's like in 4 parts, and like the first part, it tells a story about this like money manager from like the 30s or something 20s who became like all famous. Then it's like the second part of the book, it kind of tells the same story about a guy from 4 different perspectives. And as it goes on, it becomes this like, you start to realize that it's actually not about him at all. It's about this like woman in his life.
Wait, don't give everything. Are you giving it away?
Yeah, no, I'm not. But it's encouraging to keep reading because you almost start and finish a book 4 times in the book, but each time you do it, you're like revealing the same story in cooler ways and one of those things. But by the end, I'm just like, oh man! And every time they keep revealing, it keeps just well written.
Julia Hildenbrand, I think, did that it's called "We Are All the Same in the Dark." I read a lot of murder mysteries, and this is a real novel. It's not like a cheesy murder mystery, but it's so good. She does the same thing, and I don't know that I've read many books that do that, where you keep unfolding, like you end the book and start anew, and yet it all ties together multiple times.
I love that because I think that's the same thing with life. It's like really wild when you see things from. I've learned so much by being in Canada and just seeing. And I don't mean this in any kind of, like political, just culturally seeing America from a different country is so interesting. And I've never not been in it. I'm from Southern California, like, you know, a huge state in a huge country, you know what I mean? And like, it's like they say, like when that old fish swims by the young fish, they're like, how's the water? And the 2 fish are like, what's water? Like, I was like, what's water? You know what I mean? And then you get out of it and you're like, and I love that. I love seeing things from those different perspectives, seeing the same person, if you're their dad or their best friend or their lover, you know, and the different people we are to different people, that blows my mind, you know? Anyway, I don't know. We're getting off on that, but this is what I like to do. No point.
Just listen, just spitballing with Tyler is the name of your show, friend.
This is what I want in friendship.
Just spitballing. Okay, we're going to get really deep right now. This one might hurt. Are you ready? What is your biggest regret?
I think like probably my biggest regret, there's not a ton, but like I turned down a lot of stuff after One Tree Hill and Walk the Line, because I was like laser focused on my music, and a lot of those things like blew up a lot. And I think like I wish I'd been a little more like open to that or something. Like I was a little too myopic, and at the time I didn't care at all. And I like don't like really, but I just think, if I had made some of those decisions again, I would have been like, I see it in context. Like for instance, during that time, there was so many sponsorships or things like that. And I was very, very like principled. Like, do you remember on the One Tree Hill tour, like I didn't have a phone, I just had a pager. Like I was anti-tech. Yes. Now I'm like buying Bitcoin or whatever. Like literally, like I was anti-tech. I was just wanted a pager if the label needed to get a hold of me. And I was just, wait, what are we talking about? Why am I talking about a pager?
Your greatest regrets.
My greatest regret. Oh, right. So I was just like very principled. Now I was like, no to sponsorships, no to any kind of project that I perceived to be like not good for the world or something. And so I guess at that point, it only left my music. You know, I was like 22 and I was like, this is, you know, and so when things get offered to you, like, I don't want to be that. And I think in my defense too, when you're younger and you do something, you do become that. When you're older, people don't make that you as much, but, I think there was a lot of things that actually would have been really fun to do that I just straight was like, no, that's not my vibe, you know?
Back then, the culture was so different.
Yeah.
Like, remember?
That's what I was going to say.
Just being a sellout was like the worst thing that you could be.
Yeah.
And now...
Well, there wasn't any crossover back then. There wasn't. It was like, if you're gonna be an actor, then do acting. But how could I ever become a musician if I focus on my acting? That's crazy. I have to focus on my music. It's not like it is now, where everybody's just like, give us literally every single talent that you have and put it all in the exact same place, and we're gonna just like run with it, and you create your own empire. Back then, it was pick a lane and you stay there.
And if you give too much too, and I felt this way as a fan, I would be oversaturated. I remember like there would be like, when Coldplay had like a song come out in a commercial, it was like a big like, whoa, they're selling out. 'Cause nobody licensed songs to commercials. Now it's like the only way musicians make money is to license their music. Anyway, weird things like that. And I also didn't expect Warner to go through this crazy thing where I didn't put out a record for 10 years. So obviously hindsight's 2020, but if I had to go back, I'd be like, great, like this record company is going to freeze up for like 8 years. Let's just do a bunch of acting stuff. And I loved it. At the time I was like, no, I'm not an actor. I'm a musician, but like, it's like some of the most fun I ever have is being on set. I love it. I have such a blast.
When and where were you happiest then, when you think about, is it those times when you were on tour, or,
And that's a great question.
I mean, I guess maybe it's now you have a baby, but like, I don't know. Is this more of like a before now? When and where were you happiest? It could be now.
Yeah, no, that's like a great question. I've started to realize that I love group projects and group activities. I love being on the road with people. I like being part of a team. I love being part of a cast. You know, it feels like a circus. You're there, you become family really quick, and then everyone leaves and something else happens. But I love that. That's like, so I think when I'm working with a group, it's really fun. I felt that way also making this record. Like Jocko, who we've been making music together he's like, one of my best friends, and we're still doing it. And so I often think actually that my happiest place, other than, being a dad, home, but like, I think my happiest place is honestly being behind Jocko, pacing around manically with music ideas while he's at the computer. There's something that's where it all happens. I'm just like walking around like, okay, wait, we need a clarinet here. And like, what if we do like, and he's like, okay, yeah. Like, that's my happy place. I feel like,
Yes.
I actually told the therapist that recently. I think he was like, where are you happiest? And I was like, it's honestly pacing behind my friend Jocko as we're coming up with music. That's my happy place.
I can relate.
You've always been really good at collaboration. Like, you value what the other person is giving and then you make that other person feel like their input is making you better. Like you share nice. You can tell that you had siblings. Like, you're a good sharer, Tyler.
Nice. Well, I appreciate it. It's not hard because I feel like I'm learning a lot, especially from you guys, but that's cool.
All right. Well, here's another downer. I'm getting the downers. What is something that you really dislike?
Oh my God.
You don't hate technology anymore. Your fake money.
I hate double standards. Oh my God. There is something, oh my God, that makes me just like
cringe.
I don't know what it is. There's something, and it's weird because there's not a lot of things that like get my whatever, but if someone just arbitrarily makes a decision because they feel like it and it's like whatever, I could lose my mind. There's just something about that, Otherwise it's like, oh, whatever, it's all good. But somebody being like purposefully, I don't know.
Entitled?
Yeah, purposely entitled or like malicious or something like that really, really jars me,
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
That's something I just hate.
Okay. Well, then what or who is the greatest love of your life?
Love of my life?
Yeah, we're bouncing around. It's like happy, sad, happy, sad.
Meg for sure.
Yes. Great.
I mean, is that what you're imagine? I was like, there's this girl.
God, it's actually my mom.
Yeah, can you imagine? Well, some people might say their child, or some people might say like a thing that they do, like a career path or something. There's no judgment on any answer. We're just curious.
Megan was going to pop up in the Zoom and be like,
yeah, she's been listening this whole time.
Dare you?
Like Megan. I think like Megan has been like the great like love of my life. Honestly, like we have been like, she's been like the through line through so many Tylers, I guess, and is that kind of person that can update her thinking. You know what I mean? And as she grows and as I grow, and so much good has like come from it, aside from just like love. Like we're like really good collaborators. And I think like our daughter is like the coolest person I've ever met. So I'm like, it's so crazy that like we made that, you know? So I really do think that she is, you know, I would choose her and that whole thing, like even over my music and that kind of stuff, you know, it's like, it's my vibe. But
awesome.
Oh, I'm all right. Was that the right answer?
Yeah, that's the right one. Bingo. No, but I just love that you guys met so young. Like literally racing to the office today to tape this, I ran into a couple that I know in town here. He's 91, Dick and Barbara Schreiber. He's 91. She's like 16 years younger, which is why she always liked me and Jeffrey, because we were a similar age gap. And they are celebrating their 51st wedding anniversary. And that is just nutty to me. Unless you've been with someone since you were in your really, really early 20s, you know, like you and Meg will get there. That's crazy to me.
It is really, really crazy. And you hear something like that too, and knowing that all the stuff that goes into whatever, even just knowing yourself, but then adding like another person in there, it's like, it's a lot, you know, but it's cool.
How many years has it been so far?
Oh my God. Well, we started dating when I was like 22. So like, you know, and it's like, I think in a lot of ways, like dangerous to meet that young, because there's like, who knows, you know, there's like so many ways that you could go. But at the same time, I guess if you can go through all that with somebody, then you'll probably be able to go through whatever happens between 30 and 60 or 40 and 70 or whatever, you know.
91.
I mean, I feel like we have these people say midlife crisis, but I think every 10 years or so we have like whatever that age is hard right or hard left, you know?
Well, every cell in your body changes over the course of 7 years. So every 7 years, you are on a cellular level, a completely different human.
And to think about now, like what even is marriage, or why do people stay married, or what's the point, or what are you trying to do? What's the model for it? Like as long as we're living now, and as like, I always forget, is secular the non-religious one or non-secular?
Yeah.
Secular is religious.
Secular is non-religious.
Not religious, you know. So like if you're, you know, in a secular kind of marriage, what's the point? And you have to kind of keep like, you know, or you know the vibe. It's just, I think in a lot of ways we're like pioneers in this day and age of like what a relationship is, because there's so little to go on from the past in a lot of ways. I mean, so few similarities, you know, those people that were married 50 years, did they have TikTok, you know, or whatever, like so many things.
Did they have thirst traps that they had to deal
on
with?
Insta? Or no, I mean, or whatever the, you know, just a different vibe, you know, and not that that's, you know, I'm being like, you know, but it's crazy.
I love it. You're such an armchair philosopher at all times. It's one of my favorite things about you. It's great.
Oh my God.
We know you want to be like the best singer and musician, but I'm going to make you pick something different.
Okay.
Which other talent would you most like to have?
Oh, you know what I'd love to be good at? Fixing shit.
Oh, yeah.
You know who's not good at that? Me. And I've like, my dad's construction his whole life. Like I should have that, you know, I want to be that kind of guy. It's like, I just know I always mess it up. I got tools. I've tried, you know, like I'll always mess it up. And I think if you could have one skill, I mean, everybody should have like being really good at fixing shit. Oh, I'll figure out that door jam, whatever, you know, whatever the deal is. That's cool. I wish I could do that. That'd be dope.
You've got the haircut for it right now. You could play a contractor.
I look like I'd be good at construction. Yeah. Look like I'd be into cars and like construction.
This is like probably where you're the most similar to Chris Keller, if we think about it, because he's definitely one of those guys who'd be like, I could fix that for you.
Perfect.
Probably the most realistic overlap would be the scene where we were doing the fire in the kitchen. That's probably really when Tyler started entering the chat. You know what I mean?
Hey, Drama Queens family, it's Sophia, and I am here to tell you about my other podcast, my first podcast, Work in Progress. My baby is back for season 3, and I am so excited to share it all with you. Work in Progress really was what gave me the idea for Drama Queens in the first place. It's where I got to exercise my love of looking back at where we come from and what we've learned and where we're going together. And I am so excited that WIP is coming back for season 3. We have so many exciting guests coming up. I'm talking to entertainers and authors and elected officials and celebrities and newsmakers and more. And I cannot wait for all of our Drama Queens family to come over and get whip smart with me. Listen to Work in Progress on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Okay, so I guess this would also maybe be the same answer, but you got to find something different. If you could change one thing about yourself.
I'd really like to be a little more chill. Like, I'm starting to realize that I'm like, the things that have been like my superpower or like my, like, maybe like charming manicness or something, hopefully, you know, but like, or, I mean, hopefully it's like charming or whatever, but like, I think there's like this thing in me that's so, and it makes things tough, you know, and I like envy people that aren't that way. And Megan's not that way. My good friend Eric's not that way. Like, you know, you find a lot of people that are opposite, but I would like to be able to sit still more, you know, I don't. You know, my happy place is pacing behind Jocko, you know, like that's my vibe, you know, and I'm starting to feel that being kind of exhausted mentally, not something I can necessarily like do forever. And I'd love to be like chill.
Have you tried marijuana?
It's the skunk in the yard.
Oh, that's a skunk. Yeah.
Skunk. The
He
skunk
always comes through
problem.
here.
Doesn't that mellow you out?
No, it probably just works him up. He's all like, oh man, I got all these crazy ideas about internet money now. I'm gonna
Oh my God, imagine.
paranoid for the next hour. Okay, I don't think you need to be more chill, but I see what you're saying. Were you like a hyper kid?
Well, actually, and not to be whatever, I think there is a thing in me that feels like the unspoken thing in the room is Tyler needs to chill out a little bit. You know what I mean? And that's actually interesting to hear you
I've
say that,
never
'cause-
thought that once.
But that's funny because actually then maybe the next step deeper for me is like, oh, that's something that I'm thinking like it isn't too much. Because if truthfully, it's not that I can't keep it up. Sometimes I worry that, you know, I have to.
Well, when you leave the room, you're like, God, I sucked all the oxygen out of the room. They're probably talking about how relieved they are that I'm gone. Because that's my process. Anytime I leave a space, I'm like, oh, they're probably so relieved I'm gone right now because I'm hyper.
Maybe I'm like, I'm exhausted of me, so everybody else must be exhausted or whatever. But it is wild to like start to realize like, well, anyway, but
That's so funny. I've never once thought that about either of you.
Yeah,
But we have that, you know, we've got our own narratives that go on in our brains and they're so real to us.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, what do you consider your greatest achievement?
God dang, that is wild. There's like two things that I'll think about. Like, I think like, oh my God, I don't even know. I think in some ways, being in Walk the Line was a huge highlight for me because of how big of an Elvis fan I was as a kid and what like a fairy tale that happened to be. And like what it taught me so many. It was my first step into the industry at all of film and television. And I learned so much. And I think like the fact that I learned that by being Elvis in this thing, like was like, I'm starting to really like believe more and more in like things being meant to be or there being signs because things are too weird, you know? And this might be why everyone gets more religious as they get older. But like you start to realize that there are some patterns that just are just weird, you know? I don't know if it's like an accomplishment, but just like a Cinderella moment for sure that I look back and be like, I can't believe that happened. And then a small thing is the record I put out in 2019 was called City on Fire. And I thought it was like the best thing I'd like ever done musically. And it's so hard to get a record done and out because it's like a move where the first 80% of it goes quick and is fun. And the last 20% is clearing out the junk drawer. And you're like, I don't know what to do with this stuff. And it takes like 5 days. That's how a record is. It's like all the annoying stuff's at the end. I remember when it came out, I like had this moment where I was like, looked up at the sky. I was like by myself and I was like, I am so grateful that this album is out. Like I did it. Like I wrote these songs, I put them out, and now they're out there. And no matter if I die or get in a car accident, whatever, they're out there forever, you know, and I did it. And there's so many things that don't get out there that like when it does get like your book or like so many, you know, these, it's just like, you know how hard it is to have something go from idea to act. That's why I don't even care if it takes off or if people respond. Just having it out is such
did
a big thing. And I felt that with the last record. I was like, whoa, that's what is driving me to try to do like a record a year from now on, is because it's such an important practice for me. And it's like an impossibility. Every time I started, I'm like, this is impossible. This will never happen. This is too much, you know?
It's big hill. Yeah.
Okay. If you were going to die and come back as a person or thing, what would it be?
The hawk.
The hawk.
No, seriously. What would you come back as?
I think, I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. I guess it'd be cool to like come back as a woman just to like check that out. It would be kind of
It's real cool, Tyler.
I feel like it would be cool. Or maybe, you know, but I would just like, that would be a vibe more than like coming back as like a cool insect or something. But yeah, I don't know. I guess like I have no desire to be a chick. You know, this is like something I could freely do now, I guess, if I wanted to, you know, but I just think it'd be cool to check it out.
Yeah. Listen, you should come back and try on a different set of hardware, you know?
Would it be a guy again or like?
Or a dog. Or
Tree?
a sequoia.
Hawk?
Yeah.
A sequoia is cool. It's kind of boring, you know?
Yeah, just stand there.
My friend talked to a psychic or whatever. He was like, this is weird. I just talked to this psychic and it was right after my grandma died. And he's like, the psychic wanted me to tell you that this guy, Tyler, his grandma's here. And she says she just got here and there's not a lot going on and she's kind of bored. And I was like, that is so my grandma to say, the one that had the TV on all the time. And the fact that this guy, right? And anyway, that's what I was gonna say is when I think of sequoia or something like that, I think like, oh, I think I'd be too bored. And I think I'll be like my grandma when I eventually die. I'm sure whatever purgatory happens for a second, I'll be like, what are we doing here? Are we heaven? Am I a woman? Like I talked about on the podcast?
You'll be pacing.
I was going to say,
I'll be
where are you going to go pace?
Behind God, making a record with God.
Hey man, can we get the tempo up? Yeah, I get that.
good.
All right. Do you have something in your life that is just so easy? I feel like we know the answer to this. That you know it's exactly what you should be doing with your life.
So easy.
It just comes so naturally.
You know what? I mean, obviously, like, you know, music or whatever, or writing, but I'm starting to realize that my skill in talking to people I don't know is really coming into handy in Canada, which is a little more of a reserved culture, very nice, but not like a lot of people mixing. And as we're trying to make new parent friends and stuff, I'm getting right in there and just being like, what's up? How you guys doing? Like really trying to find the parents and then make a friend with them, you know? And I don't think if I had done that, this would be happening because everyone's very like, oh, no, after you. No, please, you know? And I have to kind of get in there and it is very easy for me it's harder for me to probably get like personal with people I don't know, but easy for me to be like, you know,
get the ball rolling. What are you and Megan looking for in your parent friends at school? Like when you're scanning the room, you're like,
know it when you see it. There's nothing particular. It's just, you know it when you see it. Like, I wish there was a pattern so I could be like, we need to select, but just like that, they have our vibe. That's our vibe.
You look for the parents with the tattoos. You're like, what'd you get into? What's your...
Yeah. What's going on here?
Yeah. Okay. Where would you most like to live? You could pick anywhere in the world. Where would you want that to be?
Here, like I like love where we are in Canada. We're like in like small farm town kind of vibe. And I love it. I mean, like if we could live, like on a lake or something somewhere would be great, but the schools all seem to not be great in like, you know, vacation areas, but like, I love where we are. Like we're on like a little river. We got some land. Hawks are eating shit out there. Like I think this is good for right now, you know?
That's great.
I'm telling you, Winnie is going to come inside one day with that thing on her arm. Like, Mom, Dad, I got a pet.
I know. It's all doing falconry or whatever.
Yeah.
I love that so much. All right. this is our last question. Okay. And then we're going to talk about what you have going on right now. What is your most treasured possession?
Ooh, that's a good one.
He's looking around at guitars.
I am. I know. I was like, which guitar? That's what I was actually like. Just.
It's not like my granddaddy's pocket watch. It's like which guitar?
I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I think like this guitar would be like my most prized possession, only because guitars are like so not similar. Every single one is different. And if you get a vibe with something, don't change it. And I've had this guitar since I was like 19, and I just I beat it up. I never take care of it. I treat it poorly, and it's always there for me. And I don't know why. It's one of those things where like a lot of things in life, I hate to say this, my pattern has been when I really want to take care of something, it doesn't work. It's only when I'm just like indifferent to it that it is allowed in my presence to be its vibe. I don't know why. That's always the way it is. And this guitar is an example of that. Like I couldn't care less about it, and it's never left me. It's like always sounds good. And because the reason I got this guitar, this is like typical of my life. We're going to do TRL for the first time with you guys. It given me this brand new brown and orange guitar. I was so obsessed with it. I flew to New York. I took it off the plane, and it had broken in half.
What?
Before TRL. So I hear this beautiful guitar is that I was obsessed with. I was going to spend my whole career just aging with, broke before like my first big thing on TRL.
No.
They took me to the showroom and they gave me this loaner. And I've had it now for 20 years or whatever. And that was wild. That's what I mean. We're like stuff like that. Like I only have so much of a choice, and then the rest of it just gets decided for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that was just handed to me as a loaner, and it's like been my guitar forever. Like
I love it.
It's like the giving tree. Like remember that kid's book where the little boy like plays with the tree and then abandons it and then chops it down and stuff, and the tree just keeps providing for him. That guitar's your giving tree, baby.
Dude, that book and I'll love you forever, no matter how long I'll be. Yeah. I'm like, dude, that's way too heavy right now. Like they me every time.
Yeah, they're really writing those books for the parents. They're like, here's a little bit of trauma for you to process while you're putting your kid to sleep.
Yeah, the kid's already asleep and you're like crying.
Talk to us about what you have going on right now, though, because there's some exciting movement happening.
Yeah, so since that I did that score, so the score for Megan's movie is like really like nostalgic sounding. Like we were going for like 90s nostalgia movie score, so lots of strings, clarinets, like really. And then the album that I made right after that is the same thing. So it's just like I got real into playing clarinet and I bought a cello, and so I've been learning clarinet and cello.
How do you know how to play clarinet?
6th grade.
It's like a savant. Just teaches himself anything.
No, just like band or whatever. And then I asked a fan on Twitter, or asked everyone on Twitter, does anyone have a clarinet I could have as a joke? And a fan did, and they sent it to me. So I got this clarinet.
Oh, that's
and
amazing.
I used it on the whole score and the album. And anyway, so the song When It Rains just came out a couple days ago. And then I'll have another song from the record come out in November. And then the whole record will drop in March, like March 16th or something.
I love hearing you do new things. You're always doing new things. Tyler Hilton, When It Rains, that's out now, wherever you listen to music.
And the cover of it is a picture of Megan fishing when she was like 9 or something. That's the single cover, whatever.
I thought it was Winnie. I thought it was your daughter.
I know, wouldn't that be? She's almost that tall.
Oh, I just love it. Buddy, it's really nice to hear like that you're in this phase of your life where everything is just getting softer and more comfortable, and you know, you're just getting to ease into enjoying things as opposed to we were all groomed to hustle and be about the hustle. And so it's really nice to see you as a lifelong friend be in this phase of just being comfortable.
Well, I appreciate that. You know, we know the hustle has shifted to parenting, which is actually the craziest hustle I've ever been a part of. It's like tour managing a drunk psycho, I've realized all the time. But it's like that you're obsessed with. You know, it's like it's wild. But no, I love it. And I want to save all my energy for that. And you know, I love talking to you.
Yeah.
Love talking to you too.
PTA is going to hit you up to perform at every fundraiser.
Oh,
and
yes.
I can't
From
wait.
every school we applied to, I was like, you know, I play music and I come in and play for the kids. That's that comes with Winifred, you know, so, you know.
I love it. All right, you guys stick around, listen to Tyler's newest song, and we will catch you very soon, honey.
I love you
Tyler.
guys. So great to see you.
Great to see you. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye, honey.
When it rains like the sky's falling down, pouring all around me. Slow at first, then it starts to burst like a drum corps warning. Well, sometimes I feel like one in a million, a man against the mess. But when it rains, it's strange. I ain't complaining. Let it wash away the past. When it rains and I'm looking back on us once upon a time, when life seemed longer and love seemed easier, and you still felt like mine. Well, sometimes I feel like one in a million, a man against the mess. But when it rains, it's strange. I ain't complaining. Let it wash away the past. When it rains like it's doing now, all the sounds seem to me to rearrange till I hear your name and it's calling out to me. Well, I feel like I'm one in a million, a man against the mass. But when it rains, it's strange. I ain't complaining. Let it wash away the past. When it rains, it's strange. I ain't complaining. Let it wash away the past.
Hey, thanks for listening.
Don't forget to leave us a review. You can also follow us on Instagram at DramaQueensOTH.
Or email us at dramaqueens@iheartradio.com. See you next time.
We're all about that high school drama girl, all about them high school queens. We'll take you for a ride in our comic girl, cheering for the right team. Drama queens, smart girl, rough girl, fashion but you're tough girl. You could sit with us, girl. Drama queens, drama queens, drama queens, drama queens, drama queens.